Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Friday, February the 17th, 2023. I don't think today is going to be very exciting. And this highlights the problem with giving daily forecasts. You know, in a lifetime, very few major events happen. You know, we're born, go to school, get a job, get married, have children perhaps, have a few promotions, maybe, a few disasters, retire, die. That's it. 6 or 7 events in the average lifetime. Yet, if you're giving daily forecasts, astrologically, you know, you're supposed to provide excitement on a regular basis. And, you know, that's tough. In fact, it's an impossible task. You know, some people expect astrologers to be magicians and they're not. And today, yes, today is not that exciting for most people, all things being equal. The moon is in Capricorn, like it was yesterday. And with the moon in Capricorn, we are going to be fairly focused on the material details. We will tend to put ourselves first. It may be difficult for some of us to be, you know, emotional and sensitive because we've got to get our priorities right. Yet, on the plus side, the moon is making a favourable 60-degree aspect to Venus. That's a sextile aspect. Venus is in Pisces, a great sign for Venus to be in. It's exalted in Pisces. So with the moon making a sextile to Venus, we can be nice, we can be charismatic, we can be sensitive, we can give the impression of being sensitive. And we can get people to like us. So if we're trying to get people on our side, perhaps because we want a favour out of them, now's a great time to be doing it. Especially as Venus is on the Mars-Jupiter midpoint. Mars and Jupiter is a very expansive, dynamic combination. You put Venus on top of that, and with Venus on the Mars-Jupiter midpoint, you know, we can come over as being warm, passionate. We can be, you know, we can come over as being, as I said, a nice person. And matters are helped by the fact that the North Node is aspecting the Venus-Mars midpoint. Venus-Mars in astrology is often connected with sexuality because Venus is a planet of female sexuality. Mars is a planet of male sexuality, and you put the node on that, and a node is about associations. And so we can come over as being a charismatic and attractive person. Certainly helps if you're young and beautiful. Yeah, even then, otherwise, yeah, we can come over in the right way, and we can get people on our side with our charisma. And from a relationship point of view, I know I was negative about relationships, particularly on Valentine's Day. Now, perhaps some of us can make up for the disappointments of Valentine's Day. You know, the energy is more in favour of romantic activities. So if romance is on your mind and you've got something planned, then it can certainly work out. And if you want to look for someone new, or you want to, I don't know, sign on a dating agency, or sign up for a dating agency or something like that, making the first contact, now might actually be a good time to do it. On a different note, I should remind you that the Sun is still conjunct Saturn. The Sun is also making an aspect to Kronos, which is a hypothetical planet connected with authority. So we do need to continue to be concerned about the actions of government. When we deal with government agencies, we do need to tread very carefully. Don't think they'll go away. Don't think they'll ignore us. I mean, if you've got something to do, if you've got dealings with the government, I don't know, whether it's tax, whatever, be respectful. You know, you're not in a position of strength. So do what is necessary to have a safe and a quiet life. Now, to completely change direction, I noticed that Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, has resigned. Now, on my blog, for years, I have been writing articles saying that she's doomed. And to be honest, I've been wrong. I mean, I used Indian astrology, and things look really bad for her for years. Yet she has stayed there. She's stayed in power. And I'm okay. I might have some Scottish ancestry, but I'm basically English, and maybe I don't understand. But what's going on up there north of the border? But she has really managed to stay there, and I'm just wondering, how did she manage it? I mean, I think her horoscope perhaps doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, it's not a difficult horoscope in one sense, but actually trying to work out when her downfall was just impossible. But from a simple sun sign astrology point of view, we know she's a Cancerian. And the fact that she's a Cancerian makes her powerful. Cancers should never ever be underestimated. Two of the most famous, powerful Cancerians in history are Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar. You can't really beat those two. So if someone is a Cancer, they're often really able to get their way. Elon Musk, he's a Cancerian, and I mean, I don't know if he's still, I don't think he's the richest man in the world any longer, but gives you an impression when Cancerians get going, when they start to flex their muscles, they can really make things happen. I think with Nicola Sturgeon, she was also helped by the fact that she was First Minister of Scotland, and Scotland is a Cancerian country. If you look at any old astrology book, I mean, well, not any old astrology book, but okay, let's rephrase that. If you look at some old astrology books, they will say that Scotland is a Cancerian country. For example, Christian Astrology by William Lilly, written in the 17th century. He goes through all the 12 signs, and he says what countries or what signs rule them, and he gives Scotland to Cancer. Now, that makes sense, because one of the stereotypical images of Scotland are the clans, these big families, big groups of people, and clan loyalty is really important. And they can do some seriously bad things when they fall out with each other. It's a clan that really matters, and Scottish politics seems really complicated and clannish as far as I can see. And so you have a Cancerian woman, so it's not surprising that she does well in a Cancerian country. And the Cancerian link with Scotland is quite deep. I mean, the Battle of Bannockburn, when the Scots beat the English, it was Scotland's, it was Scotland's great moment. That happened while the sign was in Cancer. And I think the Scottish leader, I may be wrong on this, but I think Robert the Bruce, who led the Scots, he was a Cancerian. And he had a very Cancerian moment before the battle. According to the legend, Robert the Bruce noticed how a spider kept trying to build its web and kept failing, and then it kept going until it finally got what it wanted. To me, spiders are Cancerian, are really Cancerian animals. They're very protective, very, very defensive. They understand that it's an unsafe world. That spider that you see in the corner of your room, it really, behind its web. So I think that kind of makes sense, and I think that maybe that spider image, maybe that somehow relates to Nicola Sturgeon. So, rather than go into complicated reasons why Nicola Sturgeon was able to survive so long, let's just keep it simple. She was a Cancerian. Cancerians are really tough people. Never ever get into a fight with a Cancerian unless you really know what you're doing, because Cancerians usually win. So that's my thoughts. Maybe you're not interested in Scottish politics, but I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.